Hello students, welcome back to my channel. Today we will start with chapter number 6, that is inheritance. This chapter of inheritance talks about the capability of one class to inherit properties of another class. The most important advantage of inheritance is code reusability. Once a base class is written and debugged, it can be used in various situations without having it redefined or rewrite it. Already tested and saved previous code can be reused. Reusing existing code saves time, money and effort and increase the program reliability. Without redefining the old class, you can add new property to the derived class, and you even can redefine an inherited class member functions. This chapter looks at the simple and subtle aspects of inheritance concept. It talks about the ways inheritance can be implemented in C++. Now let us look to the need for inheritance. Inheritance is a splendid concept of object-oriented language. One of the major reasons behind it is that the capability to express the inheritance relation which ensures the closeness with the real-world models. Another reason is the idea of reusability. The advantage of reusability are faster development time, easier maintenance and easy to extend. So it means that inheritance allows the addition of additional feature to an existing class without modifying it. The next one reason is transitive nature of inheritance. So this means that if you want to derive a new class which could be a subclass of a program, then it can be easily implemented as it has to derive all the data from the parent class, or we can say the base class. So child class can be easily implemented in the program. So let us proceed further and see the different forms of inheritance. There are 5 types of inheritance: single inheritance, multiple inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, multi-level inheritance and hybrid inheritance. Now we'll see one by one. The first one is single inheritance. When a subclass inherits only from one base class, it is known as single inheritance. So here in the image, as we can see, this has one base class or a parent class and one child class or a subclass. So this is known as single inheritance. The next one is multiple inheritance. When a subclass inherits from multiple base classes, it is known as multiple inheritance. So here in the image, as we can see, there are 2 base classes. So or we can say 2 parent class and 1 child class. So this type of inheritance is called an multiple inheritance. The third one is hierarchical inheritance. When many subclasses inherits from one base class, it is known as hierarchical inheritance. So here in the image it is shown that there is one base class and multiple subclasses, as you can see over here, are there, and from that subclasses also you can derive the another subclass. So this is called an hierarchical inheritance. It moves like a hierarchy. The fourth one is multi-level inheritance. When a subclass inherits from a class that itself inherits from another class, it is known as multi-level. So here in the image, as you can see, there is one base class, it is having subclass. Now that subclass becomes a base class for the Z subclass. So X, Y, Z, all these 3 are different classes. This is a parent class which is having Y as its child. Now this Y child becomes a parent for Z class. So this is called a multi-level inheritance. And the last one is hybrid inheritance. When a subclass inherits from multiple base classes and all of its base class inherits from a single base class, this form of inheritance is known as hybrid. So here in the image there are two images, both of them are called hybrid. Here in this image, as you can see, there are multiple parent class or the base class which is having a single subclass or a child class. Now that child class is having again two sub-child class. So this is called a hybrid format. This also is called a hybrid, where one base class is divided into two subclass, and that subclass is again joining and becoming a the last level of subclass. So these are the different forms of inheritance. Now let us see what is derived class and base class. So here it says a derived class has to identify the class from which it is derived, that is its base class. The C++ way of identifying the base class is to include the base class name in the derived class definition. So this is a base class or a super class, you can say, which has its implementation or its name been written with the derived class or the subclass. Let us proceed further and see its type. So single inheritance. We will see first the single inheritance. A derived class is defined by specifying its relationship with the base class in addition to its own detail. So here in the syntax it is given about the derived class, how to write the derived class. We have to write the class as a keyword, then we have to give the name of the derived class, whatever name we want to give, then we have to give the colon, then the visibility mode. Visibility modes are public, private and protected. So one of them we have to write over here, and then we have to write the name of the base class or the super class, or we can say parent class. Many names are there, so we have to write the name of that super class over here. Then here we can define the member function and data members of the derived class. The last point over here is actually a derived class inherits all the member of the base class. However, the derived class has access privilege only to the non-private member of the base class. This means that the derived class can access all the data members and the member function of the base class except which are written in the private part. So whatever is written in the private mode cannot be accessible, rest all can be accessible by the derived class. The next one is multiple inheritance. We know that a subclass can inherit from multiple base classes. It is known as multiple inheritance. For the syntax given over here for multiple inheritance, we have to write class as the keyword, then we have to give the name for the derived class, we have to write the colon, then visibility mode and super class or we can say base class name. Then with a comma we have to separate two different base class and we have to write the visibility mode and the second base class or the parent class or super class. Then we have to write the body for the derived class. Now here where V mode is the visibility mode and base 1, base 2 and base 3 means so on are the names of multiple base classes. For instance, example is given over here. We have to write a class as a keyword, then sub is the derived class name, we have given colon, public is the visibility mode and super A. So super A is the name of the base class, then with a comma it is separated, and private super B. So this is the second or the another class which is the base class of the sub derived class, and we can write the body. Class is ended with semicolon. So this is how we can write multiple inheritance. The next one is visibility mode. So with the help of this visibility mode, the program will identify what member of the base class is to be derived in the derived class or the subclass. So the point given over here, access specifier control access of member within a class, whereas visibility mode control access of inherited member within a subclass. So with the help of visibility mode in the inheritance, the derived class will come to know what member of the base class is being used. The role of visibility mode is specified as following. So in the table given over here, it says that when the member of the base class is derived into the subclass, then what all visibility mode is being changed. So here for the first column it is given the visibility modes, that is public, protected and private. Now the second column says that when a member of public class is being derived into subclass, then what happens. So it will, if it is public it will remain public, if it is protected it will remain protected, and if it is private it will be private. Now in the third column it says if it is a protected member in the derived class, then what happens. The public will be converted into protected, protected would be as it is protected, and private will be private. So public will be converted into protected. Now in the fourth column it says that private member of the base class are not directly accessible to the derived class. So we have to call this member of the private member of the base class into public or protected, and then it can be derived into the subclass or the derived class. Now let us see the first visibility mode, that is public visibility mode. The public derivation means that the derived class can access the public and protected members of the base class, but not the private member of the base class. So what it says, let us understand in the figure given over here. Now this figure has two classes, superclass and subclass. Superclass has three sections in it, that is private section, public section and protected. Each of them is having a member function. For private it is having check, public it is display, and protected it is having get well. Now in the subclass it is having its own section, that is private, public and protected, and their own member function, that is init, read it and write it. Now when we inherit superclass into subclass, its member function also inherits into subclass according to its section wise. Only the private member function would not be inherited, rest public and protected would be inherited but into its respective section. That is display, which is of public section in the superclass, would be inherited into the public section of subclass, and protected is having get well as its member function, so it would be accessible from the protected section of the subclass. So these are the two member function which would be derived from the superclass as it is written over here. So when we write a public as the visibility mode for superclass, this is how it will work. Now the next one is private visibility mode. The private derivation means that derived class can access the public and protected member of the base class privately. What it means, as shown in the figure, superclass is having three sections, that is private, public and protected, as it was for the public. Then it is having its member function check, display and get well. Now here when it is been derived into the subclass with the private visibility mode, the private member function would not be inherited, but the public and protected member function which are been inherited into the subclass would be accessible in the private section of the subclass. So as you can see over here, both the display and get well member functions are being accessible from the private section of the subclass. So when we write private super as, as the base class beside the derived class or the subclass. Then it will inherit both public and protected from the superclass, but it would be added in the private section. And the last is protected visibility mode. The protected derivation means that the derived class can access the public and protected member of the base class protected. Now this means, as shown in the figure, we have superclass with all three sections and its member function. It is been derived into subclass, but as you can see over here, both the part of public and protected member function is been stored in the protected section of the subclass. So this is the protected visibility mode. When you write protected super beside the subclass written over here, it will call its member function which are in private and protected into protected section. Now let us see the inheritance and the base class. So how the inheritance will work in its own class or the base class. Access specifiers are mentioned, that is public, protected and private. The second column says that accessible from its own class. So if public is being used, yes, then it would be accessible. Protected also is accessible in its own class and private also. So in the same class you can use all the member function or the data members of the same class. Then accessible from the derived class. So all the data of the superclass can be accessible from the derived class. For the public, yes. Protected, yes. And private, no. As we have seen in the previous slides that it does not allow any private member to be derived. And the last section is accessible from object outside the class. So outside the class only private is allowed, protected and private are not allowed with the help of object. This means that we have to convert all the private and protected members into public before accessing with the help of object. So let me show you a small program to identify how to write the inheritance program. So this is a program. It looks lengthy but it is an easy program. So now here I have written a base class where class and base as a name I have given, and in that I have written private, protected and public with its member function. Get per, which is private, get pro, which is protected, for protected, and get pub is for public. Its declaration I have done outside the class. So as you can see over here, I have written just the statement to print the output to see how the visibility works. Then I have written another class which is derived class, which is having the inheritance of the base class with the help of public. So it will allow all the public and protected member function to be accessible in the derived class. Only the private part would not be accessible. That we will see. I have written at the bottom all the function. Now which is accessible and which is not would be shown to us. Now for the derived class, same as the base class, I have declared private, protected and public. It has its own member function, that is derived private, derived protected and derived public. Its declaration I have done outside the class, as you can see over here, with a single statement. This will show which class or which function is accessible when the object calls the function. Now inside the void main, I have declared the derived class object because it is having both the base class and the derived class member function. So now I have called each and every member function of the base class and the derived class function, member function, with the help of this derived class. So it will allow, but there would be an error. Let me show you. First let us compile it. Okay, so we are having 4 error. This says that we cannot directly call the private part of the base class. So private function or member function of the base class is not accessible, also the protected one. Now here it says that the member function which is in the private part of the derived class is also not accessible directly, also the protected. So what to do? For that we have to convert all the private and protected member of the derived class into public. Also this private of the base class would not be accessible even if we convert it into public. So that is not at all accessible. So let me give it a comment. Now this protected, as we have learned in the slide, that protected can be inherited into the derived class. So for that, to write it, we will have to declare it in the function of public or the public part. Let me write it in the public section. So here I will just mention it. So we will write get protected. You have to write the function name correct, otherwise it will give error. And let me compile it. So now the error for protected has gone away. So it will allow me to write the base class protected now, as we have declared it in the public part. Let me make the screen bigger. Okay. Now error came for this private and protected. To declare it, let me write it in the function as dev pri and db protected. Okay, now let us compile it and see, then we will run it. Okay, again 2 error came. So now the error is for this. We have to remove the declaration of protected and private. Then too it would be accessible as it is written in the public function. Now let us run it. Okay. Now as you can see in the output, we got the base class, public section, or we can say public member function of the base class is seen, then private derived class, then the error was due to we had not commented this function, member function, as now there would be no need of declaring derived private and derived protected, as we have written in the public member function. Now let us run the program. There is no error. Okay, so it is in the output, it is showing us the member function of public, then derived member function of private, derived class member function for protected and public, but we cannot see the base class protected function. So for that, let us remove from the public section of the derived class and write it in the public part or public member function, that is get protected. And so this is the base class. Now let us run it. Now it will be seen. So as you can see, base class protected member function is been added. So this is how you can call the member function of the base class into the derived class, or the superclass into subclass, or parent class into child class. All these are the different phrases for this inheritance. So here I end my session. In the next session, we will see the inheritance and access control, multiple inheritance, multi-level inheritance, and nesting of classes. Till then, please do watch my previous videos. Subscribe my channel if you have not subscribed. Like my video, share it and comment it. Thank you.